How many tracks are in this session out of interest?
Let's see.
Oh, you don't have to count, but it's a lot anyway.
1, 2. Yeah, a lot.
Pause.
Lots of track.
Hello, we are back. We're doing another breakdown. I'm Matt. I co-run Zelig. I'm a composer and sound designer. I don't feel right saying sound designer anymore, but I guess still technically am. And yeah, this is Connor.
Hey, I'm Connor, and I'm the creative lead here at Zelig and also a composer and sound designer.
We're doing another breakdown, this time of this Microsoft Surface Studio Laptop 2 video. Concentrating more on the music for this. This was done, when was this done? Last year?
Yeah, like mid last year, 2023.
Yeah. This was for a big launch of the new version of the Surface Laptop Studio, so it's a big moment for Microsoft, and then obviously they need an amazing track. Before I forget, if there any other videos that you want us to break down, if you got any questions, we might be doing a Q&A in the future. Feel free to drop them in the comments. Otherwise, we're going to get into it.
So let's start off with just watching the whole thing through one time.
Nice. I think if someone's thing is to do James Brown-esque vocal shouts for Splice.
There's just one guy that does all of them.
That's his thing.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, this track is wicked. It's one of my favorites of the last however many years of the big launch films.
Yeah, yeah. And we've done a few of these now, right? How many of these kind of big Surface films have we done? Like 4 plus?
Depends what you mean. We've probably done like a dozen.
Okay.
Like in like anything with the Surface team is one of these.
Yeah.
Will be at a keynote.
Yeah, right, okay.
So, but it just depends on, the style, I guess.
Yeah.
Some are a bit more sexy than others. Some are a bit more product focused. This
Yeah.
one's an in-betweeny one, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's the main one, this one, I guess, from the keynote, I imagine.
Yeah, I think so. This was like the product launch film, really, from that event. And I remember for for the brief for this one, we were having a call with them, and they kind of said, before we'd started any music or anything, they said explicitly, we don't want it to sound like a Microsoft track. So straight away, we have to sort of forget, not entirely, but kind of forget everything that we've done, or try to avoid all the stuff that we would usually do. I think for the most part, the sound design is still, from my point of view, typically Microsoft. It's quite cinematic, and it's quite, it's just
Microsoft Surface, I guess, not necessarily Microsoft. But also, I was thinking about that. They don't really mean that. Like, they mean they don't want it to sound like eye-rollingly Microsoft. Or they don't want it to sound like something they've done in the past. So they just want it to be updated. But it's still, to me, it still feels like a Microsoft film. But then maybe it's kind of hard for me to detach from it.
Because we've done a few of them now, and we've kind of been building up this kind of style, I guess.
Because they want to hear it and think, oh, this is really cool. Like, I could this, like we could get down to this,
Yeah.
and let's use it on the film.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like, oh, we're making another Microsoft.
We did another
track.
Microsoft
It's
song.
almost like this could be a track that they just synced
Yeah. Yeah.
or licensed.
Yeah, and that was, I guess, part of that brief too, is like having it feel like a track, like a track that's been released by an artist, and then they've just synced it to the film. So that was kind of fun to begin with. You know, we kind of went into it with an attitude of making things a bit more bold and a bit more almost aggressive, or just super energetic, really. Just leaning into this kind of style, I guess, future bass sort of.
I
don't
get lost
exactly
after
know.
future bass.
Huh?
I get lost after future bass.
Yeah,
in
I'm
the
not sure.
the
Anyway.
subgenres.
Yeah.
I just learned my subgenres now from Splice.
Me too, but
When
I
you
only...
click the button, it just unfolds into more genres. Oh, this is interesting. Cool.
Cool.
Let's listen to stuff. You still don't know. It's not going to be what you expect.
Yeah.
Up until this point.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow,
it's like
I can't believe you just did that.
Sorry.
But actually, this reminds me, like all of the Microsoft films start this way.
Yeah.
Like with like a suspension, like
Yep.
a pedal tony, like we're building
Yep.
to a drop.
Just
and
kind
then
of moving through a few chords
and you kind of get there's always a really nice balloon moment, which is
Mm.
the same on this one, although it's still a tiny bit understated, it's a bit more cinematic. But then you start to give it away a bit with the vocal, I think, if you play from, I guess. I'm still like, we're in like a cool, large tech company world, but then like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah. Oop. Yeah. So yeah, I guess for the first few layers, there's just like, it's just pretty basic. A few piano layers, nice deep.
Oh, that's very deep.
Yeah. Like a nice sub underneath that as well. And then the kind of chord
What's that
progressions.
bit layer? That is another piano.
That's that's just for some reason I think I bipped it to save CPU or something. Just
that one track, yeah.
I can't remember why I did that.
How many tracks are in this session out of interest?
Let's see.
Oh, you don't have to count, but it's a lot anyway.
1, 2. Yeah, a lot. Lots of
Pause.
track. And then some strings.
Oh, nice. Is that Arcus or is that?
I think this is a mixture of some of the Spitfire stuff. It's probably the waves.
It's a bit windy, windy.
Yeah, so this is like one of the Spitfire Evo plugins.
Cool.
And then I think there's some Omnisphere in there as well.
But it's nice that you have the string, like the single chord, and then the other bits, like the actual movement over the top is syncing, articulating the motion really nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
I don't know what this might be cycles. Yeah. So there's just some really, really pretty kind of like RP shimmering sounds. And then beneath here we have that's Omnisphere. Yeah, that's this dusting the Enigma patch, I think.
Oh.
Yeah. Just kind of like a nice sweeping up for that kind of explosion of energy that happens right there. We wanted something to articulate that in a musical way, and not just having the sound design boom or the fabric stuff that's in there as well.
What is the chord?
That one there.
Oh no, the main, the other one underneath everything.
There's something A minor, in A minor rather.
It's like a sussy vibe to it.
Yeah.
It's like cool.
Nice.
But yeah, I feel like that sussy suspension vibe is the thing
Yeah.
for the start of most of these films that we do.
Yeah.
For the bloom.
Yeah, and then we have that really nice kind of vocal entry, which is just like a sample of a really beautiful kind of solo female vocal.
slowed down too, right?
I think so, yeah.
Because
And
you're at
filtered.
120, 121.
Yeah. Very specific.
Brave of you.
Yeah. And then this stuff here, this is kind of like the entry of the main vocal,
Like
just hinting at it. But then there's also this weird, just a repeating sample that I was kind of using as like a riser.
Oh, cool.
That just adds a bunch
Play
of
it in
energy.
context. I
Yeah.
didn't pick up on that.
Just pushing things along a bit.
Yeah, I kind of heard it initially as like a synth.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of hidden a wee bit. And then that's that main vocal. And then there's another
What does
layer.
this- I have no idea what that first word is.
No, I don't really know.
Play the first bit. Something I'm ready.
And using Alter Boy to kind of add a little harmony to that. And I think it shifts up. Yeah, it shifts up
Oh, nice.
from a perfect fifth to, two semitones further at the end of the line there.
You should have Jacob Colliered it.
Oh!
I don't think they would have gone for it.
I guess that's like
That's so satisfying. Play the drop again.
yeah. It's super satisfying. It's a really nice, like a lazy feeling beat. It's a bit like drunk or a bit swung or.
It's deceptive though, because we weren't listening in headphones before, but that 808 is doing like a really nice push.
Oh yeah, the.
It's kind of driving.
So here's the 808 layer, which on its own sounds a bit
amazing.
Yeah, it sounds a bit questionable.
This one.
Yeah, so if I loop that.
It's cool. This, I was saying before, it just sounds like it's an octave too low for itself.
Yeah.
But in the mix, it sounds wicked.
Yeah, you can't really hear the burnt kind of crappy quality of it in the mix. If we put the drums in. So I've just cut up a bunch of samples.
It's so satisfying.
Yeah. It's really nice. And then we have this kind of lead sample, which I'll pause it for a second. This is kind of how.
It's like even the kick roll at the start of the bar is kind of helping push it too.
Yeah.
Because we're kind of falling into that moment every time. It goes on the one, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
You're kind of falling down to the one, and then it's really nice.
Yeah, and so this is for the lead that comes in. This is kind of the sample that it came from. If I just play this. Kind of slow, a bit weird, a bit wonky.
It's a pitch down sample itself, I think.
It sounds like it, yeah.
Like a pitch.
It sounds lo-fi.
But you can just tell it's the same sample pitch.
Yeah. And so kind of cut that up and ended up with this here.
It sounds more snare-like on its own.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I've used transient design, or transient master rather, which I use all the time for percussion, for drums, for anything like that, just to really like snap the end off and just take it out basically, and it just chops the tail off, which makes things really satisfying, and then it's just got a bit of reverb and
a bit. It's got quite a bit, hasn't it? Reverb. Oh no, not that much.
That's dry, yeah. But yeah, it does sound a bit more like noisy.
It's like a bit of a hall reverb one.
Which is probably like because in this sample here, there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of like bird sounds or whatever it is. So that's come through on each one of these cuts here.
Well, that's probably acting like the little Sounds like a snare.
Yeah.
It's just white noise, like pink noise.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the rhythm is super nice as well.
Yeah, so I'll play that with the drums.
Feel free to send us your raps.
Not that one. Sorry. So we've got the 808s as well.
Wow. So behind the beat if
Yeah.
you put an 808 on.
So there's the drums as well. If we look, it sounds super drunk or just a bit wonky, you know?
It's on it. I don't know, I was going to say, is that one more swung? But
So you can kind of see how far off the grid it is, which gives it that, I don't know, yeah, super swung or lazy kind of feel.
it's weird. It's almost like on that eighth note, it's almost you kind of, you don't hear it, but it's almost, there's meant to be a note there, but it's a rest.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting. It's almost like as if the kick was ducking the actual melody,
yeah.
but it's actually not.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just like wrote that way, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah, and then
I even like the brass stabby stuff in the drums.
Oh, yeah,
as
that's
well.
super nice as well. Just a horn stab, kind of... Blam.
But just the timbre difference is super nice. Like,
yeah.
the drums are really hard. The 808's crispier. They don't really hear it in the mix.
And the drums have that too. They have their own kind of like, every once in a while they'll have a texture that pops in and pops out and you don't really hear it again, like one of the snares. Like that snare there with the big tail on it. And just cuts straight out again. And some of the tom stuff, I think maybe it's this. Yeah. So they're just like interesting little like punctuations of the beat, really, just to switch things up a wee bit.
This creates more dynamics, I guess, in the drums versus if you're doing it live, you'd be choking stuff or muting stuff.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
But there won't be as much timbre difference even then. I guess it'd be with percussion or
yeah. So here, I guess things start to get. Oh.
Do you want to go back from the drop?
Yeah, sure.
What I find interesting about this is it feels like it's almost gonna lose it, like mix wise.
Oh yeah.
It's like on the edge of like it's being so limited and
something's about to
compressed.
burst.
It's like it needs to, but it works really well. But it's like it's super interesting.
It gives so much energy to the song, right? Like I agree, it's super like.
If the whole track was like this, you'd be exhausted.
Yeah. It's almost too much, you know. But like for those kind of moments, I think it feels right. It's super high energy. It's kind of cinematic, but also like. Yeah, it just has a dirtiness or.
But it's like this kind of decision where technically you wouldn't. Well, I was going to say technically it's not right, but I don't think that sentence makes sense. But it is what someone would say way too limited or way like if things are limiting each other and masking each other. But it adds to the whole vibe of it, and adds to the attitude of the track, and it adds to
for sure.
Everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of makes it makes up that feel of the track, doesn't it? So yeah, this is I guess where things start to get really kind of more cinematic, less beat based, and a bit more typical cinematic style. So we've got a bunch of horns coming in here. Here. Big horn stabs. super over the top.
Brass stab hell.
Yeah. And then some synth stuff too. There's some really nice synth textures going on here.
Mute the the farty one.
Whatever's going on there.
Mute that one because it sounds really nice. That's really nice.
Yeah, it's this kind of like pulsing. What are we using? Probably cycles again. Yep.
Boo.
But then using this ARP Cthulhu, and it's got a mode where you can kind of decouple the clock of this
Wait,
ARP.
did you just say Tulu?
Cthulhu.
Oh.
Tulu.
I've never heard anyone actually say the word out loud.
I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, that's like a T sound. But it has this mode.
Is it not Cthulhu? Like
I don't think so.
the
You would think so.
Ocean sea creature.
That's what it is. Yeah, I think it's just pronounced.
Oh, you don't
Cthulhu.
pronounce it like that? Okay.
Yeah. I think. Leave a comment below if you know how to pronounce this
Cthulhu.
word.
When you pronounce Cthulhu, I don't know. When you say it, sounds like a Maori word.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's, yeah. Don't know where I heard that. But yeah, this ARP here has this really cool mode where you can
I
just...
wonder what the inspiration was for this one.
Oh. let's blur this editor. Yeah, it has this mode here where it kind of decouples from the tempo, the grid of the session that you're in, and it just I don't know if this is
Prevent
this one
note
actually.
lock, is that what?
No, sorry, not note lock. The one above it, the free hertz thing. I think it's this one. Yeah,
Oh, right.
it's this one. So it's actually
Oh, you're just changing the
yeah.
the
So
value,
cycling
the note
through-
value, yeah.
Actually, I think I lie. It's actually
Whoa.
on. It's actually on. It's on the normal setting, but usually we would use this kind of rate free, so it goes to hertz instead of like 30-second notes or 16-note triplets, whatever. But it just has a line that's just switching between those different subdivisions.
And that's actually Diva, isn't it? That automation lane,
Yeah.
but the other one.
Yeah, but the other one was the cycles one. But just super fast and choppy. You can hear the cycles is just constant.
Kind of has a nice interaction as well. 'Cause
Yeah.
it drifts in and out of each other.
Yeah, it's kind of like a
there's
weird fluttering.
There's a delay type.
Yeah.
thing. Excuse me.
Some more like pulsing synth textures. And then what else do we have here?
Is the meter the same in this whole section? It feels like when you cheat it somewhere. It changes from 4/4. Was that a bar of 3?
The yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
just
a bar of 3?
I haven't
Yeah, I
done
know
it
you
on.
haven't done it in the session, but I mean,
Yeah. It was more to
in your heart, it's a bar.
yeah, that's what I meant anyway. It was just to kind of hit these switches you're seeing on screen here. So we're kind of cycling through different levels of rendering or different levels inside Blender. And so just to accentuate those a bit and to punctuate each one, just to really lock into that edit.
So is it actually? Because it feels like this one here on the bar 19.2.
Yeah.
This changes the meter now, doesn't it? Because this doesn't feel like it's in the right place. Not in the right place, in the place that you would expect it to
Yeah,
be. From
yeah, it's kind of shifted a wee bit at this point, yeah. So if I play it from a little bit earlier.
It's like on the hand, isn't it? It doesn't matter. It's just you did it to work sync-wise, obviously.
Basically, yeah.
But you managed to make it work.
Yeah.
But then I think it works as well because we come back into the same hook. If you went somewhere else, it might be too confusing.
Yeah.
But as soon as you hear that, the first two notes of the hook, you're like, I know where I am.
We're back here again. Yeah.
Um,
And then that kind of funny little vocal riser shows its head again, just underneath everything.
You know, it reminds me of that squeaky bed sample. Do you know?
No?
Is it like a drum and bass thing?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what.
With the little vocal that's like pitched up.
Is it? That's what it is. It sounds like a squeaky bed. I've always thought of it as like the squeaky bed sample.
Yeah. Yeah, a wee bit, yeah. And so for this next part here, I was playing with samples from Splice and came across this thing. This is a really nice, like, sweeping string melody. And then
Just imagine if the whole track was just switched into this R&B thing.
yeah, completely flipped halfway through. Very, very not Microsoft.
I thought this is what you meant, guys.
So sometimes we'll do that and we'll find a sample, and like that sample that I just played before, it just, you know, like I really like that melody. So then what we'll do is we'll go through and just play that in on strings, you know, and then I think I've ignored the chords that are in that sample, but just taken the melody, and then we continue with our own chords. But where's the strings? Here. So we just recreated it.
Boom, 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 boom.
And then, yeah, and then it just kind of repeats again. Yeah. Yeah.
Sick. I forgot to say this from the pen moment here. It is the biggest switch up because we go into the relative major kind of. We go.
Oh, from this here.
From being in this A minor world, it totally changes the feel of the piece.
Yeah,
really.
It feels a lot more. Yeah, I guess C major, right? Like just a bit more sweet, and
there's a lot more air to it. A lot more.
Yeah,
it just feels different.
Yeah, and
we've lifted somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. But then I think we're always like. I know a lot of people would say with Splice stuff like, oh, you know, you use Splice samples like that or something, like that's, you know, like you should write your own stuff, and that's cool. But it's nice to, like, I find it really nice to use those kind of samples as a starting point or just as a bit of inspiration, and then we make it our own by adding in, you know, the 808 and all the drums and the rest of the track that we've already written by this point as well, and it's just. Those kind of tools like Splice or that sort of thing are really nice to take advantage of.
That's why if it works, it works.
Yeah,
if you really like the melody and you got excited by the melody, then why not just follow that inspiration path to wherever it took you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's what it needed too. It needed something else, and that sample that I found in Splice kind of did the trick. Yeah.
But it's cool. I like this as well because if you play it a second, because it goes into this way more major phrase and this melody. The first time we've heard like a kind of lyrical, like legato melody in the whole piece.
Yeah.
So we kind of change meter, change space.
Yeah.
But then on the last bar, the fills, we kind of go back to where we were.
It's back to the beat bass.
We don't go. It's almost like we're giving you this kind of more. I guess it's not kind of what you expect, but this more. What's the word I'm looking for? Like it feels a tiny bit more what you would expect in one sense. Like this is an inspirational product film.
Yeah.
But then it's like, oh, actually, it's not, like, because we're going back to this really hard.
And we cut back into the like.
It's like kind of pulling the rug a little bit, but
Yeah.
then it does the same with keeping the 808 underneath as well, I think.
Yeah.
Because if you take the 808 out, it'd probably be way too light and too like
Let's see. Yeah, and the 808 gives it that edge too.
What's that?
This here is... What's that?
The whole section is bit.
Yeah, it sounds like it, yeah. Multiple layers. So yeah, then we have this kind of section where there's a lot going on in the sync. There's, the pen kind of flying and attaching to the laptop itself. We spin around. We see the touchpad. And we just kind of wanted to use this moment to really lock in and sync with what's happening in the edit, So kind of break away from the beat a bit and things feel a little bit not disconnected, but like...
well, we just break away from them for
yeah.
Just break away from the meter entirely.
Pretty much, yeah.
Not
just
entirely, because there's the drums going.
Yeah. So I'll play that now. And it comes back in on the beat as well. I think it's the pulse is there the whole time, but we're just using a few of these moments to call out, what's happening in the edit. So
you're just changing the accents completely.
Yeah, and there's no constant beat. There's a pulse, but there's no constant beat from the drums or anything throughout.
You can kind of get away with it as long as you can follow the melody.
Yeah,
because
and
we've done that. Because I remember one of the first Surface ones. There's a touchpad moment. I remember having a big call about syncing something to the fingers on the touchpad,
like making more of a moment of it. Yeah. So like this section here, we're just going through and articulating all of the fingers, and then as that comes down, the palm as well, the bottom of the palm. I think it's mostly with the drums.
There's brass on the palm as well, isn't there?
Yeah, that's right, at the start.
It's like a 3-note bass thing. That's nice. Introduce some new drums there.
I think so, yeah.
It sounds
in this last section.
Very lo-fi.
Yeah. I do actually, yeah. It's this... just taken a sample off Splice again and then loaded it into Logic Sampler and then just put it through an ARP and then...
Oh, right.
Just to give it a bit more of that kind of trap hi-hat feel.
So you didn't have to press it?
Basically, yeah. I didn't have to spend time editing it in because that would take way too long. Yeah.
Play it again from the start of the section. You move the kick fill to the end of the bar now.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That kind of.
But it kind of changes the push and pull of the. Because this whole section we're building more now.
Yeah. This is kind of the start of the build towards the end really. And I wanted to kind of pause for this really nice moment here where the cable kind of swings around, and then having
cable,
and having that kind of kick there, that kick fill in there, was a really nice thing to have in when everything else drops out. And we're using all of these kind of moments, all these camera moments, we're articulating with some kind of string swell.
Because we're completely insane.
Yeah. Yeah, but it works too. It's like a nice...
Well, it ups the production value massively. Not only is the music well produced, it's well written, but then when you sync with the visuals, it's like it just adds another layer. So
yeah, with this section here, we're really trying to lean into each one of these camera movements and use string swells or different kind of ways to punctuate each of those movements.
This strings thing is a nice offset little thing going on.
Yeah.
actually increases. So it's almost like you don't. It's only like a what? Like a. Is it even like a 60? It's just almost a 16th or 32nd behind. But then after the 4 bars, it goes a bit more behind, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
It ends up leading into it.
Yeah, it's really nice. Like we've got one layer here, I think, doing just some sustain chords.
Shut up, piano.
And then there's another layer underneath that's doing these. This is another Spitfire.
Olafur.
Yeah, part of the Olafur Arnold's like toolkit, I think. And it's just like a wave of strings. I'll play it on its own.
So sweet.
Yeah. Then we layer in the other chords. Just gives them a really nice tail on the end of each one. And kind of spreads it out.
Just humanizes it a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's not just like boring sustains.
Yeah.
Do you invert over it's the same chords, but you just invert invert it over
Yeah, I'm
the
pretty
time.
sure.
Yeah.
If you look
It's
at
like
the
a
region here.
Classic trick.
Yeah. So if you can see here, I'll close this. We're just shifting the bottom note up kind of each time and moving up and up, so the chords kind of feel like they're ascending, and it's kind of building, we're building an energy.
It's like voice leading, isn't it? Up,
Yeah.
Up, 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 up.
Oh. And with the vocal there, because we're kind of moving into a new space when that vocal comes in through the computer screen and into this kind of cyberspace, I guess you'd call it.
Cyberspace. Oh, the picture. I thought we were musically.
Oh, cyberspace beats. I think it's either on the vocal or it's on the whole bus. No, it's on the vocal.
Back in the bus. Oh, nice.
So we move into the super washed out reverby space while we're in
Slightly
here.
resonant, filtery.
And then back to a clean vocal once we come out again. Sick. Yeah, so that's like kind of building up towards the end.
Even the ending is a little bit unexpected. If you like press play from. You could do down, 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 down.
Bam, 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 bam. Yeah, but we just kind of end on that last horn sample, I think it is. But then the same thing as we were doing earlier is we're kind of using some of the percussion to call out the laptop itself opening up. So if I just play the drums on their own. They're just syncing super tightly with that bloop. That
We've changed
there.
tempo.
Oh.
By 1 BPM.
Totally intentional. Yeah, so I'll just play that section again.
Even the vocal syncs.
Oh, coming into this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. The brass is doing it as well.
Yeah.
It's nice. That's the first time we hear the piano on its own as well.
Right at the end.
Mm.
Yeah, I think so. Since the start, anyway. Yeah, it's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Just come back to
But
that.
again, it fits in with the rest of the piece where it makes sense as an ending and it feels satisfying, but it's not necessarily what you would expect.
Yeah.
Or your brain doesn't go to that chord or that timbre.
Yeah.
On that change in dynamics, which is we're doing it throughout the whole piece.
Yeah.
And you probably just had to. The edit probably got changed so many times. That
It did. Yeah, yeah. Which is
Like,
normal
it's
too,
like-
Like I know it's quite common for us to like write a piece. I think there's a bunch of there might have been 3 or 4 versions of this track before we ended up on this one, but a lot of it will be we started with a track and then we send it over to whoever we were working with.
Who was it? Is this Daniel or Cisco?
Yes, yeah, it was Daniel. Yep.
Shout out to Daniel.
Yeah, and
the whole team, actually, they were amazing.
Yeah, the whole service team. Yeah, but so we'll send it back to them as a track, and then they will kind of cut again. Sometimes to us, sometimes not, and then each time we get a new edit, we will have to kind of rejig the track, and so that might mean adding things in like, like that kind of change in meter that we spoke about before, just to compensate for a new edit point or that sort of thing.
But yeah, at some point you have to start problem solving and start dealing with it, because you can't, because something that like we preach internally, it's just a fact of life for us that edits change and just shit gets moved around and we have to deal with it and basically just don't be, well, I was going to say don't be a dick about it, but not don't be egotistical about it.
Yeah, it doesn't have to always work in a 4-bar phrase, or you don't have to always work to the grid.
And also you have to remember why we're doing it in the first place.
Yeah.
It's all right, you've got an amazing track, but if you have to push and pull it to fit the video, make the video better, or make the editor's job easier, or to make whatever they wanted to express in the video better, that's kind of why, that's the only reason we're doing it.
Exactly, yeah.
So you can't, it's tempting for people to be, you would think you would be disgruntled, but we kind of learned very easily on, it's way easier to just go with the flow and be like, yeah, it's not always it's more work or manually more work, but it's just is a thing. And a lot of times it can make a more interesting piece. Like a lot of our kind of house style in some respects, and especially for the Microsoft design stuff back a few years ago, was because it came out of the fact that they couldn't re-edit to us ever. So we had to problem solve with it and ended up with this really interesting place where we use, like we've said it a million times, used the animation and the motion to push and pull the music. And that was the product of not being like, we can't change this, or we're not going to change this, or we're not going to be stubborn, or we're not going to be, I guess we're not just going to pretend we can't fix it.
Yeah, because there's always a musical fix. There's always a way to solve that problem, or to fix, the puzzle that they give you back as the edit in a musical way that makes sense. That isn't gonna, when someone listens to it, who, anyone that listens to it isn't gonna be like, whoa, what the hell happened there? That so that it feels natural, or so it makes sense musically.
Yeah, I've never got that attitude of humbug, they changed the edit. It's it doesn't make sense in terms of the collaboration. And also, this is the world we work in, of course.
It is just part of doing this job, right?
If you're working with visuals, it's going to change.
And it always, most of the time, it ends up in sounding really interesting, or like Matt was saying with the Microsoft stuff, you can create a new style or you end up with music that just sounds so different or so unexpected.
Yeah, because it forces you to do something, make decisions that you wouldn't have done in isolation. I guess that's kind of interesting.
That you wouldn't do if you were just playing music in a band, or
you wouldn't do if you were pissed off that it changed. It's kind of an interesting, a good approach, I guess. So what else are you supposed to do? Yeah,
it's true. Yeah,
cool. I think is that it? Is there anything more you want to say about the Surface?
No, not this one. It's just this was super fun to work on, man. This was I remember making this track. This is one of those kind of tracks that
slaps.
Yeah, basically, it's just so much fun to work on. It's just
How many whips did it take to get to the? It says 5 here.
So probably about that. I don't think too much more. And then whip. So that was whip V1. Whip V2 was pretty similar to how it ended up being, just with a few edit tweaks and that sort of thing. But in terms of that kind of plonky melody that we put in and a few other things, it all kind of came in around whip V2. So maybe 5 whips. And
probably a couple
6
of
or
sound
7
design ones as well.
Yeah. But overall, a really fun project to work on, and super grateful to be able to work on these kind of projects.
Cool. Well, I think that's it. This is the 3rd one we've done.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you've got any ideas, feel free to let us know in the comments. We'll probably do a Q&A at some point. We might do a sound designers react. Sound design, composers, sound designers, music producers, sound designers react.
Creatives react.
Creative react to stuff, maybe. And yeah, see what happens. We're going to do some more. We're getting a little bit of a groove with it now. So yes. Follow along. And yeah, thanks. And see you in the next one.
See ya.